Welcome back. Welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Where's my phone? Shit. Well, I wanted to check something. I just thought of something, but, well, phone's not here. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Buenos dias. All right. What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Big upside overnight. New shirt. Yeah. It's a new shirt. Move that thing out of the way. Got the tag. Got a nice little tag here. It's looking good. Shout out Marvin. Shout out Marvin. Levels were perfect yesterday. I appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, good levels yesterday for sure. I didn't do anything yesterday. I didn't really feel comfortable in that morning grind. I sort of felt myself doing similar things, like trying to think of similar things, and I stepped away. So congrats if you, that 17-3 yesterday, that sort of morning grind, very nice. Very nice grinder. But as you guys know, I'm very open about it. I do not trade well on those grind days. So what I did was I stepped away, enjoyed my day, and I feel refreshed. So that's fine with me, right? Win for me overall, long-term shares green, Nice upside on the long-term shares. Good relief on some of those shares. Feels good. Tesla shares back to break even, which is pretty awesome to see. That Tesla share, I'll actually pull up my account. I'll pull up the account for us. I'll share with you guys those Tesla shares that I purchased. This was my little IRA contribution that I talked about a few weeks ago. Let me get that up here. So, yeah, look at that. Back to almost break even on those. That's crazy. Here it is. So, if I zoom in on this, I have I bought these Tesla shares at 173 and 280 of them. So this was like a big SEP IRA contribution I just made. Funny thing enough, I had to open this new account here because M1 Finance does not allow you to contribute to a SEP IRA for the prior year in the next year, which is, I think, total. I told them that's BS. They said it's because of their clearing, the way they clear their clearing firm. So I wasn't able to contribute towards 2023 in 2024. So like January 2023, I was not able to contribute. So I had to open up a new SEP IRA, contribute to it in E-Trade, which allows me to do that. So that's why I have two. It's a mess. Eventually, I think I'll just transfer everything over back to M1, but yeah, that's why I had to do that. But yeah, Tesla shares, good. You know, go to a bit of a bounce back, but a little bit of relief on those. We're right back into a big rejection point today. We are right back into a big rejection point today, and that is going to be interesting. Interesting to end the week. Interesting to end this Friday. Have to be careful here, right? Have to be careful here at 17,800 on the NASDAQ futures. So big overnight gap up because of Microsoft Google earnings right into a major rejection point, which is the same rejection point that we saw on Wednesday of this week, which created that downside. So it's going to be a very patient morning. I've been doing much better with like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of patience before getting very interested lately, because we have seen pre-market is pretty much meaningless these days. Right? We have definitely seen that, right? We have to definitely take pre-market moves with a grain of salt as of late, right? Pre-market upside into supply causes heavy rejections intraday. Yesterday, pre-market downside into that 17.3 demand caused upside the entire day. So, got to take these pre-market moves with a grain of salt, and that's why today, with pre-market with after-hour upside into supply, I need to be careful here today, right? I still doesn't mean I can long into these major rejection points. Something to be watching out, something we will talk about today with the levels that we will show on the chart. So, interesting morning, a lot of stuff going on. We also have some economic data. So let's get this game started, and let's close out this week strong. All right, let's close out this week strong the best we can. So here we go, charts and economic calendar. So here it is today, the final economic event of the week, 8:30, PCE price index. We'll have to keep an eye on that this morning, see what that shows. And then consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. So two things to be careful of today. 8:30, PCE price index, see how that affects the market this morning. Personal income, personal spending as well. And then 10 o'clock, consumer sentiment. All right? Let's keep an eye on that. Let's be watching that. And, yeah. Now, you guys already know yesterday we had earnings. We had earnings on some big boys, on the Microsoft, on the Googles of the world. And I'll go ahead and pop that up real quick. 1 second. I'm also going to pop up the entire month of earnings, which we can take a quick peek at. So you can see right here, let me pull this up. Microsoft, Alphabet was yesterday. Very nice upside on those two. Was Intel down? It looks like someone was saying Intel was down. Snapchat up nicely. Roku, I believe, was up as well. Today, this morning, we had Exxon, Chevron, and AbbVie. So let me go ahead and take a quick look. Intel down. Intel's been hasn't been great. But nice pop on Google, big pop on Google. We've seen Google be a very strong outperforming name. Microsoft popped there, but still some supply above. Snapchat, big pop on Snap into 15. Into 15. Oh, yeah, right into these. Look at these gaps on Snapchat. Gap down, gap up, right? It's just going to be like a island chart. This is like a little island down here now. So, yeah, not really interested in Snap, but nice pop on Snap as well. Let's take a look at AbbVie real quick. AbbVie, slightly higher on earnings. I have been watching this AbbVie weekly chart right here. AbbVie has like a nice weekly chart break and retest here. You can see pop, pull back to these weekly highs, and it is holding here. So that's an interesting chart on AbbVie on the weekly. So you can see right there that 167 level is definitely holding. So not, obviously Microsoft, Google, the big boys this week, causing that upside back in the market today. That is something that we were, cautious of. And here is the entire month of earnings for us. So shout out shout out Breadman. Breadman, I don't know if you're watching, but Breadman provides us these earnings calendars. So shout out you, Breadman. So next Monday is over here on the left. SoFi, NXPI. Tuesday next week, AMD, Amazon, PayPal, Eli Lilly, Starbucks, that's SMCI, right? SMCI, 3M, McDonald's, some big boys there on Tuesday next week. Qualcomm, Fastly, Pfizer, Apple, Coinbase, Square, DraftKings, Cloudflare, Peloton on Thursday of next week. That's a big Apple one right there. The week after that, Palantir, Walt Disney, Upstart, Lyft, Toast. Interested to see what happens on this one. Arm, Uber, Robinhood, Affirm. So a lot of names coming up, guys. A lot of names on the earnings side. Shout out you too, Chef. Sorry, man. Shout out you too. Thanks for all the support, Chef. So yeah, next week going to be heavy with earnings as well, guys. And this week for sure has shown me how much, day over day can change, right? We have seen, the one thing we can definitely see this week more than ever is the day over day has been very different, right? So swing trading in this environment, very difficult. Having a true, like confident read on the market, very difficult, because you have to be careful of all those economic and earnings events, right? Because, yesterday, we might have thought, hey, more downside after that economic news. Bam, straight back to the upside on earnings. Today, we could pull back, right? Or let's say we could pull back a little bit today. We could see some downside into end of week. And then next week, Apple reports earnings right back up. So it's a very, time to be very cautious. Time to be aware of all the external events. This is when technical analysis is, a little bit, it's possible for technical analysis to definitely get invalidated during this time. So if we're strictly trading off technicals, we need to understand the macro things going on. We need to understand there's earnings, economic events, things to be cautious of to really, really, trust something 100%. So just be aware of that as we approach this earnings season. It's definitely shown you the volatility and the overnight moves on this market. All right, so let's get started. Press that like button if you guys could. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Here we go. So today we can see the NASDAQ has popped, right? Has popped off earnings, off Microsoft, Google earnings. We got that pop overnight, and we have popped right back into our 17.8, right? And this was the exact level that we were talking about yesterday morning on Wednesday, right? Wednesday and yesterday, right there, right? That 17.8 level that caused the Wednesday downside move. We are right back at that level, right? And so Is this possible today? Absolutely, it's possible, right? Is it possible that the NASDAQ gives back that gap up this morning? Absolutely, it's possible, right? So we need to be aware of that. We need to understand, hey, we're right at 17.8. Let's be careful longing into this level today. Risk reward to the upside is really not there today, right? Because what are we going to do? We're going to long right into 17.8 after seeing this and after knowing there's previous rejections here. Probably not, right? I don't really like that trade. Whether that's the right trade or not, right? Whether the market just rips through this today, I personally could not enter longs knowing that that rejection point is there. So this morning, right, if we sort of hover here this morning until open, I'm going to be very, hard pressed to be longing this market right into that level. What I'm going to need to see today to get that long entry is I'm going to need this break and hold over 17.8, right? I'm going to need to see 17.8 turn into a support today. If I can start to see that, right, if I can start to see that 17.8 and we start to get a nice hold over it, then we can look for that pop, right? If we can get that hold over 17.8, look for the longs. I would say look for the longs up into 18,000. That would be my read today. So if we get that pop over 17.8 today, if we're holding above it, I would assume you come up to the 18,000. I would assume you come up into that 20 SMA, right? That would be my target on the long side today if you can get over that 17.8. If you can't get over 17.8 today and you do continue to see that weakness step in, I really, I believe you could pull back to that 17,560, right? You could pull back and give back, some of that morning or that pre-market upside or that after hour upside right here. If we go to the 5-minute chart, we can see, right? We pretty much ended the day at our 17,560 yesterday, and we gapped up on the earnings. So if I start to see weakness here today, I think this is definitely a viable pullback that we could see, right? Back to that 17,560 demand. That would be a very interesting long spot, right? We know the market has some strength behind it if we have those strong earnings. If we do get that pullback move, right, then maybe this is where we look for that hold and maybe that pullback long. This is where the pullback long occurred on Wednesday, right? Look at this. So you had that Wednesday rejection at 18,000. I'm sorry, at 17.8 right here. You had that sort of morning grind to the downside right into that 17,560, which resulted in a nice pullback long opportunity. So if we go to today, right, we can see it could be very similar. We could look for that pullback, right, back to 17,560, and then look to see if that is our pullback long level, right? That could be very nice. Will I short 17.8 today? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't think I really want to short here today not too early before having real confirmation, because I'm not going to just discount the strength that's been, sort of coming in. I'm not going to discount that overnight strength. I'm not going to discount the strong hold at that 17.3 yesterday. That was a very nice hold at 17.3. That was one of our demand levels. We held over 17.4. That was very nice as well. So I'm not going to just totally discount this and walk in and say, hey, I'm shorting the shit out of 17.8 today. That's something you got to be a little cautious of. It's still possible that we break above this level. All right, it's very possible that we just hold here, sort of grind higher, eventually breaking this level and pushing higher. So I'm not really that interested in shorting this, too aggressively after, this is definitely a strong move yesterday. So I'm going to need to see some real weakness, right? Real weakness, real follow through, some real, strength, volume coming into the downside before I try that. I don't want to just walk in today and say, I'm shorting 17.8, right? Because it could just be another grinder into that level and really no aggressive pullbacks, just sort of a general trend higher. We'll see what happens on the PCE this morning, right? We'll get that information and the data. But for now, these are the two levels, 17.8, right? And I would like a pullback long the 17,560. I would not long anywhere. Personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable longing anywhere in this gap up from last night. All right, I wouldn't just long here randomly. I would only long here, right, at 17,560 or on a hold over 17.8. Right, those are really my only two longs, over 17.8 or at 17,560. I don't like longing in the gap up from overnight. That doesn't feel right to me. Okay, so I would wait for us to get above that 8. Right, look for that long over 8 today, or get that very aggressive pullback into that 560. Those are my 2 long spots today. Let's go to QQQ. So we can see the QQQ is right back into our 430, right? We were talking about that 430 on Wednesday. We have this previous major level. We have 430, 430, 430, and right here, 430. Again, sort of rejecting there on QQQ. We got over yesterday, that 425, right? And that would really be my favorite long spot today, back at 425, right? Markets don't go straight up. So would I be surprised to see this? Absolutely not, right? If we really want this market to go up with real strength, right, a little pullback here today back to 425 would be fantastic for that next opportunity higher, right? We'd be creating that next higher low. See, right? You can see markets don't just go straight up. You know, you get these pullbacks. So I don't mind a little 425 pullback today, maybe for that being our pullback long today, right, after that gap up, and then looking for that to be our next long opportunity. So I will definitely be aware of that 425 today, knowing that that's a key level, knowing that we've held there previously, right? And this was that Wednesday pullback long that occurred on 2 days ago, right? We had that 430 rejection, pulled back into 425, a little bit of a long, opportunity. Didn't hold up this time around, but definitely you saw some reactions off that 425. This was also where we ended the day yesterday, right, before the earnings pot. And so if we do pull back to here and that 100 SMA, which is right here, I think that's a very interesting long spot today at 425. Now, if we don't get that pullback and this market just wants to rally today, right, no pullback, just straight up, we will look for a hold over 430, right? Look for a hold over this 430, possibly for that push into that 433, right? If we get over 430, I would say you could look for that hold for a push into the 433. That would be a push into the 18,000 on NASDAQ futures. So, going to be watching those levels today. I am just not, I don't really, so here's the thing for me, guys. This is just the way I'm going to protect myself today. Whatever level in here, right? If you see some level between 430, right? And you guys do you, right? This is just me. I'm not always right. You need to understand that. Right? I've definitely not been always right on this market. That's for sure. And I'm very aware of that. Whatever level you are seeing on your charts between 430 and 425, whatever level you have within this zone, I personally would not trade it. The reason for that is because I don't want to trade upside in this gap up, right, back into supply, right? So if it's like 427, I'm not going to look to long in this gap up right back into this rejection point. I'm not going to look to long 428 in this gap up right back into 430 rejections. I'm only going to want the extremes today, right? I want the extreme pullback, the very confident long entry. For me, that is a pullback to 425. That's where I want to be. That's where I would be most confident and most comfortable in my trades. And I need to be confident and comfortable in my trades. Whether your game plan is right or not, right? This is very important, guys. Whether your game plan is right or not, you need to have confidence in the trade you take, okay? So if I'm like in that 427 today, me personally, for how I look at this, I would not be confident in that trade, which is going to result in bad decision making, bad management of the trade, right? Because I'm not confident while I'm in. Now, if I see us back at 425, and I start seeing a hold, I'm going to be confident in that trade. I'm going to understand what I'm looking for. I'm going to understand what's occurring, and I will have more confidence in my trade, which will most likely result in better performance, right? So for me, it's all about building this morning plan. Building this morning plan, knowing what you're looking for, sticking to your guns, because that is going to be where you perform your best, when you have a true understanding of what you're looking at. So for me, it's 425, right? If I can get this pullback today, that would be somewhere I'd look for longs at that 100 SMA. That's a big spot for me, right? I would not want to be long into 430 today without an aggressive pullback. Unless, of course, you get a hold above, right? Unless you get that hold above. So that's the way I look at things here, guys, right? You need to have that real confidence in the trades you take. Whether it's a level I have, a level you have, just make sure you understand what you're looking at. That's very important. All right. ES. So where's the ES? It's right back into our level, right? It's right back into our Friday high, our Wednesday high. It's right back into our 51.27, right back into our 51.30. You can see once again, we had that overnight pop right into that ES rejection point. Right there, right here, right? We know this is a heavy level. What happened the last time we were at this level? We got a pullback into 50.80, right? Right here. Go to the 5-minute chart. The last time we were at this level was Wednesday of this week. What did we get off this level? Pull back into 50.80. Nice long opportunity, right? So that is going to be the thing that I want to watch, right? I don't want to be long right off the open today. Why am I not long right off the open today? Because that means I'm longing right back into this level. Where's the risk reward there, right? Risk reward here is, this is your risk reward on a long this morning. It's right here. Here's your risk and here's your reward. Right? That's inverse risk reward. That's not good stuff. Right? So what do I want to see to get positive risk reward on my longs? I want to see us back to 50.95. I want to see us back to 50.80. Right? If we can get a pullback to 95, if we can get a pullback to 80, right, then I can actually create a good long opportunity. At 80, I can set something up like this. Right? That's positive risk reward. So that's what I want to see. Carmine, what's up, brother? Yeah, this level's been in focus, huh? So, yeah, right, this morning, again, we got to be careful of that 27. We got to be careful of that 30. We can see we're right into it in the pre-market off of an earnings gap up. Hey, right, I'm not out here, trying to predict what happens, but would I be shocked at all today to see us back into the supply level, reject again, and fill an earnings gap up? No, I would not. All right, so that's what I really want to protect myself against. The last thing that I want to do today, whether I make money or not, right? This is another important topic here. The last thing I want to do today, whether I make money or not today, is break a plan. Break a plan and lose money to something that I know is possible that could happen. All right, so I know that it is very possible that there are a lot of bullish action here into the exact rejection point that we've seen previously, and I know it's very possible that you could get that gap fill pullback to 50.95, 50.80. And I don't want to end my week here today longing too early today and getting stuck in that pullback and losing money and saying, why the hell would you break your plan and long here, knowing that that's a possible rejection point, right? Whether that's right or wrong, I just don't want to leave the week with doing something like that, right? I want to make sure I'm sticking to a game plan. So for me, I have no interest in longs this morning, right? I have no interest in longs right into this level. Now, if we get over this level, right? If we get over 30, get over 27, then we could look for that hold and push into 51.50, right? That would be my next play. All right, if we zoom out here, zoom out a little bit. If you get a hold over this 27, get a hold over this 51.30, I think you probably could see that little squeeze up into that 51.50. That's these lows here, and that's approaching that daily 20 SMA. All right, that would be a possible look. Where would I really want to be long today, though? 50.95, 50.80. Give us that little pullback and see if that results in a nice pullback long today. That's what I'm really looking for. All right. SPY, 509, right here. 509, 509, big level. We've been talking about this 509. So we have to be careful there. Now, the key that happened yesterday, though, is the hold over 506 for me, right? Look at this. 506, this triple top rejection right here on SPY at 506. That's going to be a key level to watch here. Does the SPY hold 506 today? You can see right here, that is yesterday or Wednesday's sort of high. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. Let's zoom in on this 15-minute here. Look at this on Wednesday, right? See this little Wednesday rejection at 506? Right in here. You have that Tuesday high, right? You have this Wednesday rejection point, 506, right? And so I'm going to look to see if you pull back into this 506 today, does this start to hold, right? Does 506 start to become a support on the SPY today? If so, there's a possible hold at this 506. Under 506, you guys know our 504, right? 504 has been major. And so 504 will be another level I look for on the downside. 506, 504. Two big levels to be looking for on the downside. I want the pullback before I long today. I do not want to long into this 509, right? Right here. 509, 509. Very careful of longing into that 509 before getting some risk reward on my trade. So 506, 504 on the SPY. The other thing to be careful of here, guys, I know we're not there yet, but I just want to give you a heads up. Make sure you're aware of this. You have a SMA stack up here of the 50 and 20 SMA on the SPY right here around that 511, right? So this is going to be big time when you get up here. This is previous lows here, major previous lows right here, right, at 511.50, and a stack up of the SMAs, the 20 and 50 SMA. That's going to be a major level up here once we do approach it, all right? Let's go to the Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson pullback yesterday. Where did it hold again? Russell Wilson, 200 SMA, does not want to give up, right? Look at this thick boy. Let me pull up the thick boy here. God damn it, this fucking line. Let me get the thick boy here. Make it nice and thick. Right there. Look at that thing. Look at that thing right there. So, 200 SMA, big level there on the Russell. Look at how this thing is held all week. So, keep an eye on that Russell 1960, big boy, 20 SMA, 200 SMA. Dow Jones, nice little fade, right? This was a nice text. This is structure here. We've been talking about this fade all week, right? Look at this. Beautiful. 38,800, right? Lows, lows, highs, highs. Look at that fade. Beautiful, right? Beautiful fade yesterday. Did I miss something yesterday? Did I totally miss the Dow going the exact opposite direction of the everything else? What the hell happened to the Dow yesterday? I didn't even look at the Dow. Oh, that's pre-market. Okay, never mind. I can take it back. Take it back. Yeah, that's pre-market. I thought that was not. That's your pre-market data from yesterday. But yeah, nice little structured rejection there on the Dow, right? Right at that 38,800. Tesla's dumping, is it? Guys. I mean, I guess you could say it's moving lower, but. All right. We got data about to come out. The best thing you could ask for right now is not this. Okay, that's not what we want. We want this, right? We wanted this data to pop us lower and then a big long, near open. That's really what I would have liked to see. You don't want to see this thing just sort of hover under 17.8 right now. That's going to make things even more confusing or tough or, a little bit cautious this morning. I would have liked to see this and then the intraday long. But, all right, we're getting upside. So we're now over 17.8. We're now over the 51.27 on data. So now, if we're over these levels today, now we had to look for those pullback longs. Look, you're getting a little bit shot down at this 17.8 already. You're getting a little bit shot down at this 17.8 already. This is you got to be cautious here, right? If this market opens up right at this 17.8, there's going to be some games here. You can see it's already starting to reject that 17.8 a little bit. I would have so much rather, if you wanted to long today, you would have so much rather have seen this, right? Give you that little gap fill, little bear trap into the demand, and then see that shot higher. This is not what I'd wanted to see for that play, because now you have to be aware that you are gapped up, right? This morning, if we hold over these levels, you are longing into a double gap up, which just feels a little bit iffy on a Friday, right? A little bit iffy on a Friday. So be careful here. 17.8 still playing games right now, right? You're still playing games right at 17.8. Look at this, right? Look at that 1 minute chart. I know I'm not going to trade on the 1 minute, but at least it gives you the detail. Look at what you're seeing right at 17.8 right now. Jeez. Yeah, so 17.8 is definitely your level. I mean, look at that right there. 17.8 is definitely your level. And SPY, oh, look at that, right? SPY 509. 509 on the dot. 509 on the dot on SPY. So we know our levels. You don't want this to just go straight up into these levels. You prefer the pullbacks today, right? You prefer the pullbacks. ES probably going to trade into this 5150, right? 5150. That's probably your level to watch there. And your NASDAQ 17.8. Your NASDAQ 17.8. So be very careful up here today, guys. Be careful at this 17.8. You're going to need to have a lot of patience there and see what actually occurs at this level. Do we get a clear pop? Do we get a clear hold? Or do we get some weakness here still? All right. All right. Interesting stuff. We'll take a look at it later in the stream. Let's move forward. So Tesla, nice little hold over that 160 yesterday. Right? Nice general hold over that 160 level. Nice little pop outside of our range, out of our war zone. So nice little upside there on Tesla. Here's your big test, though, right? Is Tesla out of the weeds? No, it's not, man. It's not out of the weeds. Am I happy I bought some shares? Yeah, I'm happy I bought some shares. But do I think Tesla's like off to the races? Absolutely not. It's not off to the races. You are still under this major channel, this major structure low, right? Look at how clear you have these previous lows and these previous highs, right? That is as clear as it's ever going to get. And so you are still under this area. So is it possible that Tesla fades some of this pop? Absolutely, it's still possible. What has it done every other time it's pushed up into this level? It's faded the pop, right? So be very careful on Tesla into 180. Be careful getting too aggressive on the long side, right? This was a nice scalp yesterday, nice little upside action. Nothing more than that, though. Right, because you still need to be careful here at 180 on Tesla. Big time level there. You also have the 50 SMA, which could be where we start to reject. Right, so just be aware of 180. If we get over 180, I think that's where things can get more interesting. Right, over this 180, I think you can spark more action. So if you get something like this, then I think you definitely will spark towards that next level, which is 207, 210. Right, but for now, you need to be careful up into this 180. Where would you really want to be long Tesla now? Right here, right? That's where you want to be long Tesla. You want to be long Tesla at 160, right? Channel lows. I would want to be long right here on Tesla at the channel lows. If you can be long Tesla 160, then you can look for that push in the 180, right? Nice 20-point risk reward. But being long anywhere, north of 160, you're at risk of being very close to that supply high, which could result in those those pop and fades. All right, so watch 160, 180. That's a pretty defined channel there, guys. It's really defined, right? So what do you want to do on defined channels? You want to be long at channel lows and short at channel highs. So just be aware of that. NVIDIA, big time test today at this 850. This looks like a big test for NVIDIA. Should be very important for the markets as well. You can see right here, right? Right there, 850, right? 850, 850, 850. 20 and 50 SMA. That's a big test today. Can we hold over 830? That's going to be what I'm going to be looking for. Does NVIDIA hold over 830? If it does, is this a little pullback long today? Do we get a pullback long into 830? Something I'll watch there. But I need to be careful of longing into 850, right? Because I know that's a very heavy level. I know that's a previous rejection here, previous rejections here, previous, rejections in the pre-market this morning. And we have that 50 SMA that's sort of sitting right above us. Could this be a little bit of a rejection point? Absolutely. Back down into that 830. That would be the level I watch. AMD. AMD's been on its little grind. It's been on its little grind lately. But AMD is very similar to Tesla, right? You have clear lower lows, lower high action on AMD, right? You have this right here. You have this right here, right? You have these structured levels. So what I would be careful of today is just be careful of that 160, right there. That 160 on AMD, I think that would be potentially your next fade level. So keep an eye on that 160 on AMD. Nice hold though, right? And AMD has been sort of creating higher lows, which is good for now, right? A little bit of higher low action is pretty nice. So I would be careful of the hold at 154 today, and I would be looking at the hold of 149. So 154 is a possible pullback long. 149, possible pullback long. Just be cautious into that 160 if you are long, okay? 160, 154, 149. Let's go to SMCI. SMCI, nice hold again down at that 100 SMA. You know, obviously this 100 SMA 700 area has been a pretty strong support area for SMCI. I would say just watch 800, right? Just keep an eye and see what happens at 800 today. If you hold over 800, I think you're moving into that 855. 855 would be this low right here if you hold over 800. If you break back under 800, could weaken again, okay? So really all about 800 today on SMCI. MU's been just sort of grinding higher. It's been sort of stuck in this this trend higher. Doesn't look strong to me, but definitely is resilient. So you can see the little double top this morning at 114. I would say this 112 level is very important today. And then this strength down here at 109. So I'm pretty much over MU. Not going to trade it anymore, you know, in this little grind higher. I'll wait to see if there's something more of interest. So I need more downside on markets to really think that this gap is going to fill. At this point, I really don't believe in the gap fill yet anymore after seeing just a general grind and grind and grind. If I can get something of a breakdown, something of weakness on the market, like an actual downside move on the market, then I definitely will flip over very aggressively or very quickly and pay attention to the gap fill idea. But I am not going to keep looking for it in a market that's not really fading aggressively, right? You're getting these pops, you're getting these earnings, you're getting a lot of volatility. I need some real clear market weakness and real clear weakness on MU before continuing to try this gap fill move. Tried it once, failed, moving on, right? Until maybe something really sparks here. It looks like MU is still holding this uptrend, right? Look at this trend hold right now on MU. So not going to be messing with it in this disaster. If it really breaks under 109, then maybe I'll look for it. But moving, you know, not going to keep. You got to make sure you know when to fold up, right? And for me, it's time to fold up on MU. I gave it my shot. It's clearly just grinded higher against me, and I'm just going to wait this one out a little bit. It definitely looks good for a future breakdown. I agree, right? I definitely think this looks good for a future breakdown. But as of right now, that's not happening. So not going to do it. Not going to keep going for it. This is a very interesting meta chart. Yes. You guys can see right here. What has Meta done? Meta has pushed higher right into the previous lows. This is very interesting, right? Right here. 450 on Meta was that sort of gap up and hold level at 450. Look at where Meta has popped back into here. Look at Meta. So Meta has reclaimed or has pushed back higher, channel or the gap fill reversal, and it has now pushed back into that 450 level. And it's starting to sort of, I don't know, you can call this curl off that 450. So interesting there. Am I going to be looking to short Meta today? Probably not. After its very strong, you know, sort of grind back higher. Could you have good risk reward here? Absolutely. You could set up good risk reward here. Stop over 450. Maybe look for a drop into that 100 SMA. Maybe look for even a drop back down into 400. But obviously, you're going to need market weakness for that to occur. But you definitely can see the weakness that is stepping up at 450. So be aware of that. Be aware of that Meta 450. Let's go to Coinbase real quick, because Coinbase has been sort of interesting still. And what is Coinbase doing still? Coinbase is still under this 230, right? It's just sort of interesting, right? You have this 230, you have this 50 SMA, you have these rejections that have come in previously, and you're still sitting right under it. So I'm still interested to see, does this result in another downside trade, right? I'm still going to be watching this 230 area on Coinbase. So watching that 230, watching that 50 SMA today. Google, obviously, she's been a beast, and I guess really by, you know, no surprise to see this. We've seen Google be in total outperformance on this market. And so that maybe was a little bit of a, hey, Google's going up on earnings. Maybe that was the little whisper in your ear, because Google has not moved lower as the markets moved slightly lower. Google has just been a resilient stock. What a pop here. I don't like trading these, sort of earnings gap ups. You could look for this 175 level today. That's about the only level I could see here you could try to trade off of, right? That's about the only level that I see here that you can try to trade off of is 175. If you can try to look for a little long off 175, very possible. If you get under 175, you could look for a little bit of that slippage, right? You can look for a little slip action under 175. I do not think it is, I don't think you're going to see Google give back this gap up. That would be absolutely insanity. If Google gave that back today, that would be pure insanity to me. To have that strong of a move higher and to give that all back, I would be careful with that thought process today, right? Even though, some of you may like to look for gap fills, that would be insanity to me. So I don't think I'll be looking for that. But if you do hold that 175, that could be maybe some kind of a scalp long there to keep an eye out for. So 175 is your key level to watch. Look to see what happens on either side of it today. Okay? Amazon. This one I'm a little bit interested in fading. Here's why. Because Amazon has been a very weak stock, first of all, right? Check one is, has Amazon been strong? No, it has not. Amazon has been fading for multiple weeks now. So number one, Amazon, I think, is a weak name. Number two, it has gapped up very aggressively into the 20 SMA and into 180 supply off of a different company's earnings. Okay? I do not think that is a reason for Amazon to be higher. It might be, it might not be, but I'm sort of interested in seeing, does Amazon, now this is one that I could see giving back a gap up, right? Because it didn't have earnings. It's been a generally weak stock, and it just faded at pretty clear rejection spots, right? 180, 182 were our levels we had, the 20 SMA and some of these previous highs and previous lows. So I'm definitely interested to see, hey, is there a little short here on Amazon, right? With a stop loss over 180, is there a little short to give back this move, maybe back to 174? That's something I will be watching. That is something I will only be watching if the market sets up downside action, right? I'm not going to look for this if the market's going straight up, okay? But if I see some downside action, I'll be looking over at Amazon saying, okay, what's Amazon doing here at 180, right? Microsoft earnings pop didn't go enough to make me absolutely love upside here, right? I don't think Microsoft has gone far enough to make me think that it's out of the weeds here. You can see Microsoft pretty much just popped into 420, right? Nick, I don't care a damn about fundamentals. All I care about is what Amazon has been doing in the short term. Okay? That's that's a totally irrelevant to me. What has Amazon been doing for the last 2 weeks? Making lower lows and lower highs. Look at this. This is what Amazon has been doing. Look at the chart. So, would I say this is weak? Yes. Is this weak versus other stocks? Yes. Is it weak fundamentally for the next 10 years? I don't give a shit. Okay? That's not what I'm trading off of. I am not trading Amazon on the 2-minute chart today because of fundamental analysis. That makes no sense. Okay? If Amazon gets over 180, if Amazon gets over 182, I will not trade to the downside. If I see the rejections come in again at the previous rejection points in the short term, I will look for that downside trade. Right? That is not important to me trading Amazon downside on a gap up. That's not its own gap up. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong that Amazon goes down today. But I know where my stop loss is. I know my game plan. And I'm not doing it because of fundamental analysis. Okay? All right. Microsoft. 1 hour chart. So I don't really like where Microsoft has gapped up into. Okay, I don't like that it has gapped into this rejection point, right? Look at this. See this? So you got this 420 low, you got this 420 rejection, and you had an earnings gap up into that level. And you can see it's getting a little weak there, right? It's getting a little weak there. So be careful on Microsoft. Be aware that it is rejecting a major level post-earnings, and it has been struggling to get over 420. What would I want to see on Microsoft before longing? A pullback to 410, right? Right here. Pullback to 410. If I can get a pullback to 410, that would be where you could look for that retest long, right? So keep an eye on that 410. Keep an eye to see if that holds. Just be aware of that 420 here, because that is a pretty important rejection point. Larry, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for joining. All right. Netflix, still just chilling, right? Netflix still just chilling here. Really no action. Definitely has been some upside off the 100 SMA. Still stuck under this 580. So a very clear channel, right? 550 to 580. Not really involved. Not really going to get too involved in Netflix in here. What else? Apple. I mean, man, I've totally retired even looking at Apple personally, guys. Just no interest in intraday trading Apple down here. I think that's about it. Wow, what a meta rejection. Yeah, meta's interesting there, man. That little 450 rejection. Coin rejection around that 230. ARM 100 SMA, still a valid idea. Keep an eye on it, right? ARM 100 SMA, still sitting up there. Interesting. TSM. Yeah, TSM is sort of right in the middle of a channel. I got no interest on TSM today. Look at where TSM is. Right? It's right in between channel low demand, channel high supply. It's right in the middle of it. I like 134 or 143. You got to wait for one of these. Urgent warning. Oh, yeah, let's take a look at some of those, like snow. Snow's been, it's coming back a little bit lately. Nothing that's going to get me interested, though. PA&W. Yeah, PA&W's been sort of spicing up a little bit. All right, you can see PA&W is actually getting close to that level we talked about. What is it? Probably 290. It looks like 295. I'd say keep an eye on this. This has been sort of trending higher lately, right? You're starting to get this trend higher on PA&W. I'd watch 295. I'm actually going to set an alert here. Create alert. At or above. 295. Yeah, that's a big shelf right there, right? If PA&W can get above that 295, there could be some action here. After a pretty solid consolidation and hold over that 200 SMA, over that 260. Nice little consolidation here. If you can get over that 295, you start to get some action here. That could be interesting. So I keep an eye on that. I'm going to have my alert set at that 295 high. All right. Let's go a quick look at the NASDAQ ES, see what we're looking at. Yeah, I mean, look at this wick rejection, man. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What a level this is. Very much danger alert, okay? This is the danger alert here, right? This is something to be cautious of. Look at the pop and fade right at 17.8 again. So last time we were at 17.8, guys, we went down all morning. Right now we're at 17.8 again. Be careful here. We have an earnings gap up. Gap ups have not been friendly in this market. All right, gap ups do not hold on this market. And look at the downside we're getting right now. 17.8. Pretty important level there, man. And look at that 51.27. What a fade there. Cautious, okay? Cautious into these levels. I would not want to be very long into 17.8 today. It's definitely shown you the caution to be there, right? The cautious on longs into this level. So if you do long into here, just be very aware. I would want that pullback before being very comfortably long, maybe 560. Now, if you just sort of chill here and grind higher, it might be a day I go sip martinis and maybe a little bit of old-fashioned action. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, press that like button if you could. Subscribe to the channel. Fair warning to all you guys that do come here on a daily basis. Next week, I will be out 3 days. 3 days. I know. It's crazy. I'm going to have to request PTO. But I got a bachelor party for a buddy, close friend of mine, and not going to be missing that. So, bachelor party next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, unfortunately, we'll have some time off from the stream, but we'll get some good stuff in Monday, Tuesday. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll remind you guys on a daily basis about not being here. I'm sure people will ask still, but press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on Monday. Peace out.